places and to these trainings, and say I'm with a group and we're all staying in our separate hotel room, it's hard. Nobody wants to just stay in the room. They always want to go out to eat. Let's go find something. Let's go do this. Let's go see this. And so part of that could be being in a different town. But a lot of it is I don't want to be with myself for a long period of time in a new place. So like if you're at home, there's all these distractions. You know, you got to clean. You got to do this. You got to whatever at home. But if you're in a hotel room somewhere, it's just like, okay, I'm here by myself in this room. I better go get some wine. I better go score some weed. I better go out to eat. I better go to a museum. I better go to a rock concert tonight or something like that. You know, it's really setting a time daily if it's possible to maybe get 20 minutes or 30 minutes of this meditation. It becomes easier and easier just to be with your own thoughts and to quiet down and see what comes up in those moments.
So every...
What?
Go ahead.
No, I'm done.
Okay. So every day I literally have homework, right? Like, even if I don't have work that day, like, I still got something to do. So, like Mara knows, I always take, like, once a week or twice a week, I'll take a mental health day where I'm like, it's my mental health day, I'm not doing shit, don't come up here. I just want to lay in my bed until...
Yeah.
And I never do that.
Well,
I just sit there.
You need that sometimes though, because it can be really overwhelming.
Yeah, seriously.
And it can really take a toll on like how you like wake up and like
yeah,
you're like,
just
oh, it's the same thing over and over.
Just my
again.
whole day, I'll be thinking, oh no, I gotta do this homework, this do blah blah. I literally think that right now.
I gotta go home and do homework. Yeah.
Well, you know, statistically, you know how many kids have like a mental breakdown when they're in college
Yeah.
because they're under so much stress.
Everybody I know.
Yeah, and there's
Don't
also
have to be a kid.
a high rate of suicide around college students because you know it could go different extremes, right? You could be putting so much pressure on yourself that you're overworking your mind and your body, and the other thing is you're too relaxed and you're not doing nothing, you're not going to class and stuff, and then towards the end of the semester it's like, oh crap, I gotta tell my parents that I'm flunking out of college, or I've wasted all this money and I'm not gonna pass or whatever. And so there's those two extremes, and to be able to have some type of practice that could help you through that time in your life will be beneficial.
Yeah, I thought that I was good at solitude because I'm not a people person. Like I don't mind people, but you know, it's not something that I seek out.
Same.
Right, but it's different to be like thinking like in terms of really doing some self-examination and sitting with yourself as opposed to reading a book or writing or watching television. You know, that there's a difference between solitude and actually doing some self-reflection, and it's harder than I thought it was doing whole self-reflection thing because you can do it for a little while and then you're like, I wonder what's going on out in the world now. But yeah.
Talk to yourself a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good stuff.
How about you guys?
Well, I really didn't know this thing was going to be an issue here because a lot of it I can resonate with. It made me think on a more base note, I just felt much better doing meditation because my allergies are just killing me. And as soon as we started, it seemed to remove the burden and breathe a little easier, which no reason for that, but maybe part of it is accepting that
Thank you. I'm trying. I'm doing my best. Well, speaking of Dharma Talk, so we have been kind of going slow getting through this. Now I think we're going to kind of pick up the pace a little bit as we move forward. The second verse that I wanted to talk about today is, it says, the practitioner who guards their mind and fears the waywardness of their thoughts burns through every form of bondage with the fire of their vigilance. The practitioner who guards their mind and fears their own confusion cannot fail. They have found the way of peace. So once again, the Dhammapada is telling us it's all about our thoughts. Our happiness, well, heaven and hell is right here. You know? I used to go to church. I lived 6 years as a born again Christian, and I helped this guy start a church, and he even let me preach kind of on Wednesday nights and some Sundays. But it was weird because I was there every time the church opened, you know. I was so committed, but like I didn't, it was like we would be there Sunday morning and Sunday nights, but between those two services, me and my wife would fight like cats and dogs. You know, we would argue and fuss and fight and kick the cat and spit on the dog and everything else, you know. But then I would put back on my tie and she would comb her hair and we'd go back to church, you know. It was almost like I didn't even understand Jesus' teachings until I became a Buddhist. And I realized that Jesus was saying that the kingdom of God is right here, right now. But men don't see it. Heaven and hell is in our own thoughts, you know. Now, if you believe that if there's a heaven and hell after we die or whatever your belief is around that, but in a very real way, I meet people all the time. They're living in hell right now because of their thoughts. Maybe it's addiction, or maybe it's past trauma from their childhood, or maybe everything they see is negative. They're always focused on the negative. They're waking up in hell and they're going to hell. They don't have to die and get sent there by God. You know, they're crucifying themselves every day with their thoughts, you know. And I've met people living on the street that they smile, they're happy, they got nothing, they don't want nothing, and they're good to go. I got people with $100,000 in the bank and got everything you can imagine, a great job, great wife, great everything, and still they're tormented by their own thoughts, you know. So in a very real way, every single time we're making that decision between looking out and seeing heaven or looking out and seeing hell. And I didn't understand that when I was a Christian. I was working towards this: after I die, I'm going to get to heaven, or after I die, I'm going to get some kind of reward or whatever. And so I spent a lot of that time saying one thing and being at church, but living differently out in the world, being very judgmental, very opinionated. This is clearly right and this is clearly wrong, and everybody has to believe what I believe and that stuff. And then when I became a Buddhist and I started practicing this and realized that it's not out there, my happiness is not out there. You know, what I'm trying to achieve isn't anything in the world. It's all right here on this cushion, you know. Every single thought and every single action is my responsibility. There's cause and effect. When I do something, there's consequences. When I do good stuff happens. When I, you know, and I still screw up a lot, you know. Like, there's been times me and Diane have left here and argued on the way home about something, you know. And it's my, you know, probably my fault. It's always my fault. But, you know, I say something mean or unkind, or I do something that makes her upset, and then we argue, you know. And I'm like, you know, there's still the humanness of it. I'm up here trying to spread the Dharma and doing all this other stuff, and then turn around and say something mean to my wife 5 minutes later. You know, I'm human. But at least now I understand that we don't carry that around before we get home, I'm already saying, you know what, let's not fight. I want peace today. I want this to be a great day. I apologize. Can we talk about this? Where the old Kylie would carry around that for weeks, months, maybe years, you know? And then even when it was kind of squashed, it still wasn't squashed because I would bring it up the next time we fought. Oh yeah, remember when we were in the car and you said whatever, you know? Now, I don't want anything unresolved in my life. I don't want anything I don't want to do anything that I regret. I don't want to say anything that I feel guilty for later. I immediately want to take care of it right away, you know? And we all make mistakes. And we all do things that we're like, well, maybe I shouldn't have done that, or maybe I shouldn't have said that. Immediately go back and rectify that. Make that right so you can sleep at night. And that doesn't come up in your practice. Or you're not carrying it around somewhere in your subconscious where it's going to affect your overall peace, right? So when it says here that they use fear in this scripture, it says, the practitioner who guards their mind and fears their own confusion cannot fail. I think fear is not a word that I would have used there. I think not fearing your own confusion, but maybe being curious about your own confusion, being investigating. I've been doing a lot of, I'm seeing in myself my need to control other people and other things, and people not reaching my expectations. And I used to believe it. Like, I used to really believe that you were a bad person or something because blah, blah, blah. Or this isn't working right because it's your fault, you know? Or what's a good example? Anything, judging anything. People coming in late, or people not calling me or emailing me when they said they were going to, or whatever. I started drilling down and being more curious about that feeling. Is everybody really an asshole, or could I kind of be a little bit, you know, a control freak, you know? Is it really reality that this person didn't call me back or didn't follow through or didn't do whatever because they're a bad person, or is it because of my need and my expectations and all these things, right? When Diane says something that offends me, do I really think she's a bad person that's really trying to hurt my feelings? Or is she just seeing something from a different perspective? And it's not the way I see it, but it doesn't mean it's wrong, you know? Or maybe she's saying something that she totally didn't mean for me to take offensively, but I chose to do that for one reason or another, you know? And so I'm trying to get more into this thing when I communicate people is, when you do that, it makes me feel this way. Instead of getting angry and like, you're such a jerk, you always do this, you're such a terrible person. It's more like, when this happens, it makes me feel this way. I just want to share that with you, you know? Because this is the way I see it. You know what I mean? And opening up that communication. And almost 100 times out of 100 times, that person really is not trying to hurt you, or they're really not trying to do anything to upset you, or it's really not that big a deal once you talk about it or analyze it or step back and be the witness and not the participant, you know? You could say, really, this is not all about me. This is just happening. It's kind of like in the walking meditation. I thought it was interesting. I don't know, somebody must have left and suddenly we're walking faster. And then maybe somebody came back and then we slowed down a little bit. Did y'all notice any of that?
Yeah.
Close to the end there?
Yeah.
We were kind of walking at a certain speed and then we slowed down quite a bit. That's kind of like life, right? Through meditation, I can't plan everything that's going to happen during my day. I can only react to it. That there's times I need to speed up and there's times I need to slow down. There's times I need to stop and reflect, and there's other times I just need to get it done, you know? And you can't plan all that out. You have to be in the moment and react spontaneously to it. But if you're walking around full of anxiety and you're feeling pressured, I have this this thing that I tell my coworkers, you know, that I feel like somebody is pinching me and I look down and it's me doing the pinching. And what I mean by that is sometimes I feel like I'm stressed out and I got so much to do, and I look around and it's not my boss that's doing it, and it's not my coworkers, it's not the job that's doing it. Literally, it's coming from within myself. I'm putting this pressure on myself. I'm giving myself all these high expectations. I'm the one that's stressing me out, you know? And so then I breathe and I'm like, there's no deadline. Nobody's putting any deadline on me. I can literally, my boss doesn't care, my coworkers don't care. I seem to be the only one that cares that I get this done by the end of the day. Yeah, I'm not gonna die. I can breathe, you know? And, so yeah.
Yeah, I say, my Monday quote for this Monday that's going to come up is, work hard with grace.
Work hard with grace, yeah.
Sometimes when I'm at work, I work with like 10 2-year-olds, right? So like everything's a mess always. And so like I'll get done like changing their diapers, or we're done painting and everything's fine and they're just playing. And now I'm like, okay, now I have to clean the table and I have to clean this and then I have to do this and this. And then I'm like,
of the next thing
yeah,
you're
the
gonna
next
do
thing that I need to do with them,
before.
and I'm like, I'll literally sit down on the floor and be like, I just want to talk to them. Like I just want
Yeah.
to just relax with them and see what they're doing and spend one-on-one time with them. So I literally have to force myself to sit on the floor and be like, do your job.
Yeah.
Time that you change the 10th time when the first one is
Yeah, exactly. You already
Yeah.
know. Yeah. I have like a child in the bathroom, one washing their hands, and I'm like helping this one put on their shoe.
Yeah, we do that a lot, right? Never in the present moment, right? I mean, even like sometimes Diane's talking to me, and in my mind, I'm thinking about 100 other things. And I'm just going, yeah, and I have to be like, whoa, wait a minute, like I got this precious time to spend with the person I love. I kind of need to be listening right now, you know? We don't have to, you know, it would be so easy to say, well, we're going on vacation in 2 weeks. That's when we'll really have that time together. So, like, I don't have to listen to her or appreciate her now. I'll really appreciate her later when we're on vacation or something. How ridiculous is that, you know?
Yeah.
When I could literally just be in the present moment and enjoy her every single day. Or time with my daughter, or time with my niece, or anything, time with friends. It's okay to give myself a break and just be here now and not do anything.
Present.
Be present, right? All right, so we're going to do the chanting. The chanting.